So this is Studio C. I'd like to give you a little background. I'd like to give you a little background on how it started and why it started. It was very interesting to me that the world started to evolve technically, and auditioning and film and television were just something that, you know, we were just kind of chasing. Like it was going ahead of us. It was going so fast. And what I noticed was that as an actor, you know, I'm from New York where you train, like you go to the gym, you know, so if you're not working, you're in class, even if you are working, you're in class. And what I noticed was, and I hope this, I just want to preface this, I'm not putting down other schools. It might sound like it at times, it's not my intention. My intention is to sort of explain that my problem as an actor was that when I would go to the class, I'd sit in a brilliant class with an amazing teacher. But what I was asked to do in that class and what I was asked to do in the world were different. And I'm smart. And I didn't know how to apply what I was learning in these classes to how to get a job and how to work in LA. First of all, one of the biggest things that came across my way was when, you know, I'm an acting coach. I've been coaching people for 7 years, easy. I have people on tons of shows. You go. What? You know, easy. No, I didn't coaching though. I wasn't start. That was the class I was in. But what I noticed is like nobody ever. There's no such thing anymore as a cold reading. Do you know what I mean? It's like we get the script. So what are we running around learning a cold reading technique for? It's like I
remember the days where you actually. I mean, for those of you who don't know, we used to have to go to the casting office to pick them up before fax machines were really young people. And then, you know, when fax machines were around, you had to get it faxed and whatever, and so often, you just waited till you got there to pick up the sides and get them and learn them then. Now, that doesn't exist anymore. Only if you're lazy and you don't choose to look at the size beforehand does that happen. Otherwise, you at least have the day ahead.
You can get scripts now. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, the other thing that was really intriguing to me was I was working, and I would go on a TV set. I never really got a rehearsal. I got blocked, you know what I mean? But no director ever came over to me and really started to talk to me about my acting and stuff. And I was like, so why are we learning to do a scene in 3 months? Like, I go to classes and I have actors that come here and I'm like, so like what have you been working on? And they'll be like, well, I've been working on, you know, The Dreamer Examines His Pillow for 6 months. You know what I mean? Why are you doing that? You need to do it in a week. You need to do it in 3 days. That's the job now. The job, and it's not a Broadway show that you get the luxury of the 6 weeks, you know, to rehearse, which is amazing, you know, but we just don't have that. So I started a group of actors. We came out from New York. We were looking for a class to start in my dining room. We were like 8 people. I wasn't a teacher. I wasn't even thinking about being a teacher. And I kind of became the leader of the group. I was like the organizer of it, you know, it was at my house and all that stuff. And we were putting our brains together to kind of come up with, okay, how do we take this? How do we take this? How do we take this? And how do we make it work in the world today? Because if you think about it, okay, all of our acting techniques are based off of Stanislavski, and after that Strasberg, but really the core of it, Stanislavski, that was in 1938. Look at if we were heart surgeons, and we were using a book to do heart surgery in 1938. Why hasn't the book evolved?
It's not that you throw it out.
No, it's not we throw it out, but we got to take it. You don't throw anything out. You take it to the next place. So the next thing that happened was we were looking at actors and we were looking at the difference between Hollywood. Hollywood is very different from anywhere else as far as acting goes, because what you really look at, and chime in, because you know. What they really I don't want to take the stage. No, but what you really look at in this is you look at people like their brands. You know what you get when you get a Whoopi Goldberg. You know what you get when you get De Niro. You know what you get when you get Pacino. And so really, the development of acting is a development of your personality and coming to terms with what your personality is. So I take a bunch of...
It's kind of what they used to do back in the studio day. Back long time ago, they would develop the actor. And so Clark Gable was Clark Gable. And a writer would assigned a Clark Gable movie, and he would write for Clark Gable and Lana Turner in a movie. They didn't do it the way it works now, where it's like somebody goes and writes a movie and then they try and find the people and fit them in. And it's what's happened. I would argue the point that it never really left that, but once the studio system ended and people weren't grooming someone in that way, and agents took over everything, then it became more about the individual. People like, through the 70s, people would always say, like, oh, De Niro can play anything, and Pacino can play anything. And I think they're amazing actors, but if you really think about it, Robert De Niro always plays a version of Robert De Niro. Yeah. Pacino always plays a version. They're always playing within that, and there's a certain part that the audience will accept, and when they veer out of that, it's not that they can't do it, it's also about what the audience will accept. You know, Meg Ryan is the girl next door, and it doesn't matter what she's like when she walks off the street because people buy it as that commodity. And it always has worked like that, and it's continuing to work like that. And so to do all of this mumbo-jumbo character work so you can play everything possible, it's not the reality. You're not going to be hired to play everything possible unless if you can make so much money for them that they'll hire, you to play an 80-year-old man, or something like that, then fine. But those are the rare exceptions. The case for most people is that they're going to be hired to play some version of what it is the audience thinks they are to begin with. And that's the fact. That's what happens.
We came up with this sort of formula of breaking down your archetypal makeup. And I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. So scratch everything that I just told you. And everyone knows The Wizard of Oz? Okay. The Wizard of Oz is like the quintessential movie script. And in the studio days, even before they made the movie, they would bump that they would check out the movie, compare it to The Wizard of Oz, because it's archetypally broken down. If you think about it, it's in every movie. It's a hero or a heroine. They get victimized by a tornado or a witch. They're trying to get down the path. They have friends who help them. They get in touch with their higher power, and they get home. That's every movie. It's Scarlet and Gone with the Wind. It's just, you could see it in every movie. So what we do is in Gone with the Wind and It's a Wonderful Life, whenever you go out there into dreamland, everybody in the movie is you, and it's all a part of you. So Dorothy's archetypal makeup is she has 3 lower form archetypes. The Tin Man's her lover, the Lion's her warrior, and the Scarecrow's her scholar. She has a saboteur, which we all have, which comes in the form of a wicked witch. The witch is stopping her from going down the yellow brick road, and the witch is after Toto, which is her soul. Toto in Latin means soul. Okay? Then her primary archetype is Glinda, who everybody thinks is a witch, but she's not, because she doesn't fly in a broom. She travels in a pink bubble, which archetypically makes her a fairy. And she also has a very important archetype, which is the wizard, which is her lie facade. So the wizard she turns around to the wizard, she says, "You're a very bad man." He says, "I'm not a very bad man, I'm a very bad wizard. I landed here in Oz and they told me that I was, the wizard, and I took the job." So that archetype is everything that your friends and family have told you that you are, that you aren't, and that you've taken on.
Okay? And you try and play.
And you try and play. So what happens is at the end of the movie, we don't really think this guy's taking her back to Kansas in that balloon. So she gets in the balloon, Toto jumps out. She follows her soul out. Her heart loosens the Tin Man's axe. His heart loosens. You're digging this, aren't you? You have a smile on your face. Her heart loosens the rope. The balloon goes away. She says, "Come back, come back." He goes, "I can't come back. I don't know how to work this thing." The lie goes away. The facade goes away. The Grace Kelly, Marissa Tomei goes away. And in that moment, Glinda gave her the power to go. She's completely empowered because now she's whole. All of those archetypes have gotten empowered. The lion has courage, the Tin Man has a heart, and the Scarecrow has a brain. So she can go down the road now and get to where she needs to go. So what we do here is we break down your archetypal makeup, and you perform each archetype, and then you apply the archetype to a scene. So you almost never have to rehearse again in a way, because you're so in touch with the energy of your personality and the way in which it works, that you call forth that energy, and it's right there. So let me give you am I losing you, or am I okay? Stop me and ask me questions. So if that's Dorothy's archetypal makeup, okay? If you were to look at my archetypal makeup, I have rebel, storyteller, and con man thief. Now we're going to go back to con man thief for a second because it's a very important one. My saboteur is a fat Italian princess who talks me into overeating because I have an eating disorder. And my primary archetype is a magician. I make schools happen, I direct movies, I direct TV shows. It's the magical part. And you can't fuck with my magician. Remember what happens in The Wizard of Oz? The saboteur tries to turn around, like, she yells at Glinda, and Glinda's like, be gone before her house falls on you too, you have no power. Okay? My lie was that I was a businessman. Everyone always told me that I was a businessman, but it wasn't. I was a thief and a con man. It wasn't right. When I stopped, what happened was I had this first, and then Michael came in. When Michael took over the business, my lie went away, and underneath there was a wounded Messiah who wants to save the planet, wants to save people, and gets into really fucked up relationships all the time. Now, how does that work? Well, if you perform them and get to know them and actually embody them, then you can place their energy on every line with an action, going back to Stella Adler, Ruta Hagen, and all that stuff. So my magician loves to cast spells. Follow me for a second, okay? My Messiah loves to heal people. And my con man loves to steal. So let's just say that my audition right now is I'm auditioning for the role of the acting teacher on Fame. And what's your name? Your name is Anna. So my first line is, you're an amazing actress. There's a gazillion ways to say you are an amazing actress. The first line today is very important because everything's put on camera. The director gets those auditions at 10:30 at night. If you haven't pulled him in, it's next. He has to look at way too many. So there's no waiting. Okay, so I can sit with Anna, and she's here, and I could put a spell on her with that first line. So my magician could show up. If I decide my magician shows up, it looks like this. You are an amazing actress. If my Messiah shows up, because it's my choice, he wants to heal him, so it's going to look like this. You're an amazing actress. If my thief shows up, he just really wants her headshot. Hey baby, you know what? You're an amazing actress. Okay? And so it's three completely different energies, but they're organic to me.